where a president of the United States or a former president faces 100 years in federal prison? Is this some kind of a sick joke on the American people?
I mean, this is just awesome. I don't know how else to describe it other than he's just cooking, dude. 62% of Americans say it's believable that Trump stored classified documents improperly. Trump admits taking secret documents about Iran attack without declassifying it, an audio recording report says. Why is it only 62% of Americans that believe that? Because 30% of Americans will believe anything, okay? That's it. That's a Hasanabi doctrine. That's a principle you could take to the bank, okay? 30% of Americans will believe anything, no matter how insane it is. At least 30. Donald Trump, at this point, has openly stated on the record that he took classified documents that he knew he wasn't supposed to have. He, on the record, also tried to erase those documents. He tried to shred them, told that to his lawyers. His lawyer said, you can't do that. That's super illegal. Then he got his valet to do it. And then he hid the truth from his lawyers as well, and then also gave a fake bill of clearance to the federal authorities that were investigating him at the time, lying to the federal agents multiple times throughout this process, turning something that was objectively just like mismanaged documents that could have been handled through a clear line of communication with the actual adequate federal authorities into something that is hyper illegal. That is incredible. It's hilarious. And it's super Trump. And yet 38% here, or at least I suspect 38% of Americans, do not believe that Trump is capable of doing such a thing. But it's the most Trumpian thing you could do. A MAGA dude, full brain power here.
Blood spilled for this country. I'm not going to let it go to waste. I'm not. I refuse. I did 19 years here as a federal agent in Dade County. I'm just not going to let this country go to waste. And right now it's going to waste. Well, if he gets indoctrinated, January 6th is going to look like a playground. It's going to look like a playground from the inside voices that I hear from all the militias and everything.
When he's talking about inside voices, he's talking about the voices inside of his head. He said indoctrinated. There is no way this guy's a federal agent. Okay? Oh, I'm assuming he just hallucinated that he was a Fed for 19 years when he was on a meth bender or something. There's no God.
Everything else, it's going to be a playground. But if they want to fight, bring it. I mean, I watched Kamala Harris in Orlando. I watched Antifa throw bottles, spit on my child, throw stuff at us. They told
I don't even believe he has a child.
us to refrain ourselves. Really? Okay. But it is what it is, you know. This country's so left right now, but we got to bring it back to the right. We got to get right on the right path. We got to bring everything back. If we don't, we're going to crumble. We're going to be a third world nation. You know? We have to stand up for that flag. We have to stand up for our beliefs. And we got to put God back in this country. If we forget about him, he's going to forget about us. And right now, we're forgetting him and we're forgetting Israel. We forget both of those.
Wait, we're forgetting him and we're forgetting what?
We forget both of those. Read your Bible in this country. If we forget about him, he's going to forget about us. And right now, we're forgetting him and we're forgetting Israel. We forget.
What? We're forgetting Israel? What the? What, dude? Dude, you can't tell me that. Dude, we're so cooked. It's over. It's over. The more you see people like this, the more people find themselves agreeing with people like this, the more over it is. It has never been more over. Oh my God. The average American voter, folks.
Read your Bible. Read your Bible. Because there's a lot of boys like me that are ready. All we need is an order. We're ready. Believe everything that he does.
Like, what is this guy going to do? This guy is literally the next guy to walk into the Cincinnati FBI office with a stapler and think he's going to kill some federal agents, okay? Like, my man, you are 3 steps removed from being the guy who blew up his RV outside of an AT&T facility in Nashville, okay? Like, you literally, what are you saying right now? I'm sorry. This is insane. Obviously, there's always going to be like the Ted Kaczynski types and like the crazies or whatever. But the problem is like you have a party that is open to hearing them out and is like constantly signaling to that base of support. And that base of support is growing through this normalization. There is no way that this ends up being positive for anybody. Mark Levin goes scorched earth after the indictment of Donald Trump, says Benny Johnson.
Trump is 76 years old. If the Department of Justice gets his way, he will die in federal prison. Just by one of these counts, conspiracy to obstruct justice, which has a 20-year maximum sentence. This is a disgusting mark on American history for the future to come by these bandits in the White House, by the Democrat Party that don't play fair anymore. They don't want to just win elections. They want to take control of this country. They want one-party rule. And they have used the Department of Justice and the FBI to get what they want.
I just remember, guys, Mark Levin is saying this, but like he did it. Like we don't need additional information, even at that stage, to know that he was obstructing justice, right? Like there was an investigation and he absolutely refused to cooperate with the investigation. Like we know that already. It's one of the most basic aspects. Like you're complaining that Donald Trump could not get away with obstructing a criminal investigation over his mishandling of classified information.
Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer. That's what he is. Jack Reed is a rogue Soviet-style prosecutor. The Presidential Records Act is not a criminal statute, and it was never intended to be. The Espionage Act of 1917 was passed under Woodrow Wilson, another corrupt president. Woodrow Wilson used it to go after his adversaries, and they imprisoned 2,000 people. So I suppose over there at the Department of Injustice, and this clown prosecutor spent a lot of time at The Hague, they probably figured these laws could be used to try and entrap Trump. All these obstruction issues that they claim, where the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, comes up here and bloviates about it, and all the formers coming on talking about obstruction. They have them on obstruction. There'd be no obstruction issue of any kind, not even in anybody's imagination, had they not criminalized this case. This is a document case where a president of the United States or a former president faces 100 years in federal prison. Is this some kind of a sick joke on the American people? Joe Biden says he never told them what to do. Joe Biden had to sign off on that's becoming a National Archives case to have it go to the Department of Justice. Who does he think he's lying?
I don't know.
You don't know because you went to a farm, you imbecile.
It's literally Master Shake, dude. Here. Hold on. I'll do it. I'll do you one better. Okay?
This is a guy that's got documents from the time he was in the U.S. Senate, for God's sakes, in his garage. I don't want to hear from the legal analysts the technicalities about false statements and obstruction. This should never have been a criminal case. Willful retention of documents. Well, what's the unwillful retention of documents mean? They're throwing all these process crimes and all these crimes.
You saw this on Twitter. I think Brendan Carrot, who is my friend, compared his voice or someone else's voice to Master Shake a long time ago. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, like a couple of years back. See?
The president was elected president, obviously, and we're now being told by Nancy Pelosi and her hand-picked radical Democrats from these dark blue cities that you and I and 320 million other people don't get to know a damn thing about this CIA operative. You don't just flop that on TV and flop it out there in newspapers. And I pointed that out, and it's being repeated all day, and that's great. A guy like me has been raising these issues.
It's so perfect, dude. It's perfect because that is actually, it's not even a joke. He's the voice actor for Master Shake.
To grow out of the criminal investigation against Trump.
You can't unsee it now.
What did he do with the documents? Did he sell them to the enemy? No. That's why we have an Espionage Act, not to trick up a president. What did he do? Did he burn them all? No. The government has all the documents back. So there is no violation of the Presidential Records Act at this point. But they throw the book at him. They go after his attorneys. They make them testify. They're attorneys under the crime fraud exemption to attorney-client privilege. That means he didn't have due process. His own lawyers were being subjected to interrogations. And they had hundreds of in-person people testifying in front of grand juries. Thousands of collections of documents for what? For what? And they indict him today? They indict him today in Miami. All of a sudden it's in Miami. All of a sudden we have a Florida grand jury because the moron in Washington figured out that there are venue issues that could lose him his case. This guy, this prosecutor, he lost 8-0 in the U.S. Supreme Court when they overturned the conviction of the former governor of Virginia because this jerk took a statute and expanded it. A jury in North Carolina wouldn't convict John Edwards because this jerk took a campaign statute and expanded it. And he's taken this case and he's undermining the country and he's interfering with a presidential election. And let me be clear, as Jarrett said, the Attorney General of the United States made this final decision. This is not the independent counsel statute. This is a special counsel appointed by the Attorney General under a Department of Justice regulation. This Attorney General, who pretends he's Helen Keller, he made the decision to indict the former president, and they made the decision to interfere in this election. You want to talk about an insurrection? This is an insurrection. And that's exactly what's going on here. Let me go on. Joe Biden is the crookedest crook that's ever been in the Oval Office.
That's awesome. He's still going. Yeah, when you hit the caps lock and forgot to turn it off, dude. Oh, God, Mark Levin is so fire. He's just... I mean, this is just awesome. I don't know how else to describe it other than he's just cooking, dude.
Everywhere we look, there's a predicate for a special counsel. They won't appoint a special counsel, even though it's compelled under the law in which they appointed this special counsel. And you're not supposed to appoint a special counsel against your political opponent. You're supposed to appoint one in the case of Biden. 20 shell corporations. $10 million coming from the communist Chinese military, spread out among the family. No businesses to support this. Endless meetings with Biden's, with Hunter Biden's business partners. Bob Alinsky, who ties Joe Biden to the crimes. Mr. Big, Mr. 10%. And what does Biden say? Well, then where's the money? He's asking us, come and catch me if you can. The idea that this man isn't under a criminal investigation and that they criminalized a damn document case to go after Donald Trump is sickening. And I would say this to our fellow Americans. Don't be bamboozled by these cable channels and these fools who come on and tell you, well, he's not above the law. Are you kidding me? Democrat Attorney General in New York, Democrat prosecutor in Manhattan, Democrat prosecutor in Atlanta, Democrat Attorney General in Washington, D.C. What do you mean he's not above the law? There is no law. What's going on here is a disgusting disgrace. It is war on Trump, it is war on the Republican Party, and it is a war on the Republic. The radical left is doing what the radical left does while they cover up for Biden the way they covered up for Hillary. If Donald Trump is to be charged like this, Hillary Clinton should have been charged with 10,000 counts of obstruction because that's how many emails she destroyed, and 5 counts of destroying cell phones because that's how many cell phones they destroyed. I'm done, and I'm sick of it.
I love this guy. Finally, he can rest. Oh, no, the fuck he won't. I'm so glad I did the, Master Shake shit in the beginning because I know for a fact that once you see that, you will never unsee that. It's one of those things where it's like, oh no, it's like permanently etched in my mind now. It's over. You will forever. Anytime you hear Mark Levin yell, anytime you hear him yell, you're gonna think that.